Hi, everyone. I'm really excited to be here, and thank you very much for having me. And yeah, that's the real me, not the previous one. I think the photographer is going to have a really hard time taking a picture of me with the eyes open, as you can see here. So yeah, for the past 4 years, I've been working in a school in Madrid called Instituto Tramontana, and also design graduate, which is our take on online, on teaching design online. So yeah, we founded the school 4 years ago, knowing that we wanted to help raise the level of the people creating digital products and services, but with a humanistic and multidisciplinary perspective. And that's really the core of what we do in the school. So yeah, today I wanted to bring a little bit of that perspective. I hope you enjoy some design history or history in general. And yeah, I think it will be really different from the other brilliant talk we enjoyed so far. So I hope you enjoy it. And yeah, I have to say I'm both terrified and really excited, because I used to give class to a group of 10 people maximum. So today is a really huge audience, and yeah, it's a strange feeling. But yeah, so let's start. Thank you. So yeah, as I was saying before, since now you all know my little secret that I wanted to be a Disney cartoonist, I thought that it would be nice to just tell you why I'm talking about. I'm giving this talk today and talking about objects. So yeah, since I was a little girl, I remember being super curious about all the things around me. And as I wanted to be a cartoonist, I would spend hours observing and copying just to get to my favorite cartoons. So I would go over all the Disney movies many times to just to understand why things looked in a certain way. And yeah, that became my full-time obsession throughout the years. And yeah, it's kind of, I'm a bit of a nerd, but I really, why things look the way they do is something that has always thrilled me. So I thought it would be the perfect opportunity to bring all my discoveries and learning here and share it with you all today. So yeah, I will go to this home workshop. I mean, it's not this one, but I couldn't find the one I would go with my mom, because it was 30 years ago and there was no internet. So yeah, I would go to a place like this with my mom, and I mean, they also had toys. I'm not that nerd, but yeah, I really enjoyed looking at things, looking around at things. There was so many ways a cup could look, or a toaster, or a corkscrew. And yeah, above all, I can clearly remember this corkscrew in particular that really struck me, which is this one. Maybe you know it, I don't know. And yeah, I thought that it didn't look like any other. And it was the first time I realized that someone had thought about how an object should look. I really thought that the design was intentional. And before sewing this corkscrew, I would never think about. I would never think about it who designed a spoon or who designed a cup. I mean, it's just a cup. So yeah, I think this is really fascinating me, and I think this could have to do with me being a designer now, maybe, could be. And yeah, since I started my career as a designer, I remember clearly, maybe because it was a long time ago, but I don't know if it's still something today, but I remember people would talk about every time about neutral design and how this should be the design I mean that neutral design should be the design you should aspire to be good at. To be a good designer, you don't have to put yourself into designs, because design has to be neutral, right? And really, the more I worked in interaction design and designing interfaces, the more I thought that design was everything but neutral, and it was a lie, right? So since the iPhone made it to our pockets in 2007, it really was a game changer in how we understood the internet and how we navigate them. So it was indeed a milestone history, and this is, I mean, yesterday also I think this came up, and I think it's because it's really important, and it happened like a few years ago, and yeah, apps were invented, and suddenly you have to all these small drawers like where you put like specific things, and yeah. Apart from that moment, I think that 6 years after that moment, Apple made another huge statement about the interface and broke with the past. So they unveiled the new iOS 7 for iPhone. And I think that from that moment on, things will never be the same. Like, they broke with all the history we had in graphic interfaces and the past. And yeah, if you don't remember that moment, but I can clearly remember that moment, like everyone was like the drama. Also people not involved in technology. I remember friends and family like, whoa, I'm not going to use this thing anymore, I don't like it, etc., etc. But yeah, basically they got rid of all the shadows, the glossy volumes, and replaced them with flat bidimensional design. So that was the time, I think, that modernism clearly took over interaction design. And yeah, it was a huge change, but it wasn't the first time in history something like that happened. And I think that to understand what happened here, we have to travel back in time. So we have to go back to 500 years before that moment, when a man called Luther, which is the one here with the hammer, the future head of the Protestant movement, I mean, he was really pissed off. You can tell by his face in the painting. He was really pissed off, and he decided he was sick of the way Catholic religion was overindulgent into luxury. So he considered, and it is really important to understand what happened before, after that. He considered color, ornament, and the opulence in dress to be a form of lust, like a betrayal of the true essence of religion and what it has to be. So yeah, they decided to rip their churches from everything, and as you can see it here, leaving them all white and completely naked. Yeah, like this is better. This is true religion, right? And there you have them, Protestants with their austere, simple, neutral suit, almost uniform-like. So now you know why we designers, we all dress black in some way. And yeah, the movement was a reaction to what was perceived as an ornamental excess, right? And they believed churches shouldn't be decorated, but ripped up of any distraction, because it was considered like kind of distraction, like this is not useful, I don't need it, just take it away. And yeah, to be efficient, to foster the study of the Bible, whatever they were doing there, and the prayers and stuff, and leaving out all these things, all these fancy things that really are impractical, right? You don't need that. And that was the beginning of what we call neutral design today. So at the beginning of the 20th century, these aesthetics that came from that way of thinking really grew into architects and the designers that later founded the Bauhaus and the modern movement. And yeah, here you have some examples. Maybe the most famous one you've seen sometimes in the internet. So yeah, they thought that the crisp typography, the grids, and the photography was the good way to present information more objectively. Like if we do it this way, we don't like put ourselves into the design. So it's like, yeah, this is like more rational. We are objective, etc. So, and they also claimed they had no style. It was like they were really proud about it in the Bauhaus, that we had no style, we are objective, we are rational, etc. But now we know that they did. Actually, it's really, really recognizable. The Bauhaus style, like it's one of the most maybe recognizable style. But yeah, when you're in between things, you don't really see it, but it's okay. So the various movements that fell under this umbrella of modernism, they were all linked. They have this thing in common that was like a desire to break free from historical examples. And that's very important. They wanted to reimagine architecture, they wanted to reimagine the arts and design, and by exploring new possibilities. And maybe these possibilities they were exploring could be new materials, new layouts, new everything. The thing, they wanted to create a new way of everything, basically. So, yeah, they wanted to create a new world, a better world. And they had this desire to return to something essential, like somewhat primitive. And when I say this, I think about, again, the Bauhaus, like they used only primary colors, like the essential, you don't need more colors for that. Or the basic geometric shapes, like triangle, circle, square, that's enough for us. And yeah, like primitive, like back to the basics. And yeah, under these premises, Futurism was born in Italy. So yeah, Futurism was a really controversial movement, but with a really solid visual imagery. And that came mainly from their strong statement about their ideas. They really know what they wanted. And they believed in the power of machines, technology, and that the future for them must be strong and fast, right? So how do they translate all these things into visual? If you look at futurist art, yeah, you can see, like in this case, well, you see the machine, of course, the protagonist of the painting, and metal could be one of those things, diagonal lines, the steam from the engine, all these things were the way to imagine a prosperous future for the country. And that in the end led to horrible things, but that's another story I can tell you another day. But yeah, it was also, without a doubt, a fertile period that gave birth to some iconic objects. And yeah, in 1930, an engineer named Alfonso Bialetti wanted to create a more convenient and accessible way to brew coffee at home. So watching his wife doing the laundry with this French machine they used at that time with hot boiling water, he kind of connected the dots and unveiled his invention to the world, the mocha pot. This was the first prototype, like the MVP of the mocha pot, you can see here. And yeah, I mean, something has changed, but you can see that it's there, So yeah, this is the one everyone knows maybe. And if you don't know it, and you like coffee, I really recommend. I really like mocha coffee, of course. And yeah, let's take a close look at the mocha. So what do you see? First of all, the handle looks like a strong arm, right? Like if it's showing its muscles. And if we just take a close look from the top, I mean, what do you see here? What we have just said. Diagonal lines, the polygonal shapes. It was made of aluminum, metal, and a material very dear to futurists then. And it's bold and solid, inspired by the shape of used in aviation. I don't know, it reminds me of kind of this maybe military planes or something, like the pointy ends, and yeah, I don't know if you can see it. And of course, it tells you coffee is ready with steam, like the perfect object. And yeah, but what about colors? Because Futurism also made a bold statement about its color choices. And as you can see in this painting, which by the way is one of my favorites. And yeah, its art and design really were energetic with vibrant hues, and that kind of language that they were using, so like bold, that caught some companies' attention at the time. Companies that they were trying to bring value to their products and saw in futurist art like the potential to help them with their business. And yeah, Campari was one of them. And the company started to collaborate with Fortunato De Pero, which is, I think, one of the most famous futurist artists. And yeah, the collaboration went great. And they asked him to design a new bottle for the famous drink Campari soda, which is this one. Maybe you've seen it, maybe you know it. This is more difficult than the mocha pot, I think. But yeah, the Pero design, again, was the perfect materialization of futurist elements, right? It has, it's very dynamic. It has geometric shapes, again, the diagonals, because it's a cone, so it's like it's a lot of tension there in that design. And yeah, he used glass, so the bottle would be transparent and could enhance the color of the product itself, which is a vibrant ruby red. And he also used this kind of frosted glass. You can see, I think you can see it from the picture, and that gave like a particular touch to the bottle. And I mean, you could recognize it in the dark just by touching it. And yeah, it was without a doubt a synesthetic design, like full. And the bottle then became the protagonist of all the later advertising, and it was iconic and still is today. It hasn't changed a bit. If you buy a Campari soda, you can have the bottle. So yeah, this is the aesthetic of each epoch, kind of capricious, unpredictable, and often irrational. And we shape and dress our objects and buildings according to our values, to our dreams, to our desires. We cannot escape from it. And form follows function, I think, is one of the biggest fallacies of this profession of ours. And yeah, so far we've seen that ideologies or religion or social movement can create new aesthetics and then shape the way we design. But aesthetics are also nourished by technology. So in the 40s, maybe here someone knows better than me, but correct me if I'm wrong, then in the 40s, the technology was improving very fast at the beginning of the century. So Colossus here was one of the very first computers, and it was indeed massive. I mean, you can compare it with the two women operating it, and yeah, and you can tell it by its name also. But I mean, it took up a whole room, and the interface was basically a wall with many, many buttons. And the object scale didn't really lend itself to a more amicable interface, right? Like you can do more with this thing. So at Olivetti, which was a leading company creating typewriters, maybe you're familiar with, and calculators, they were competing with IBM in those years in manufacturing calculators. So there was like a race there with coming up with the next improvement and be better than them. So yeah, they were looking to improve technology behind this calculator, and Elea, which is the machine you see here, was still a big machine, right? But yeah, but as it got smaller than the previous one, it did spark the chance to make something with this interface, to make it like more human or more comprehensible in some kind of way, or more accessible, right? So the progressive miniaturization of electronic parts and the development of other materials, a wide variety of plastics in those years, really afforded designers much greater freedom in designing like the products. And the biggest improvement was that the size was reduced drastically so that the new design could fit on the desk. And that nowadays is like, yeah, what happened with that is like normal, but back in those days, it was really, really a big change. We came from the machine like this big to a thing that can stand on my desk. So that was a huge thing. And yeah, here you can see that, by the way, the technology behind this machine was still quite complex, let's say, a lot of things going on there, but it has nothing to do with the first one we've seen, right? But the real change came with this new version of this calculator, the same as we've seen before. This is called Divisuma 18th. The other one, I think, is 24. And it was the first portable electronic calculator. And the scale, the brand new scale that it was so small, really created brand new design possibilities. And the thing that it was portable really changed the way we interact with this object, right? And create like new context of use that is really important when we design things. And yeah, you really create another relationship with this thing. And yeah, here you can see it. It's the best picture I could find of the inside, but it's much simpler in complexity and also in shape than the previous model, and that was really vital to spark that possibility in design. So Mario Bellini, the designer, wanted to produce a technological product that was totally humanized, because it was a calculator you're going to use in your office, like interact with it all day long, like doing a lot of math with that, so you're going to touch it really often. So he thought that it would be interesting or important for the person using it to be an object like almost playful, that you really wanted to touch it, right? So the calculator was covered with this bright yellow rubber skin that stretches almost over the entire unit, and it gives a soft appearance, right? I mean, here you can see it in action. I have one at home, and I can assure you it's really satisfying to touch it. So yeah, if we come to more modern examples, when technology is at human scale, when we can hold it in our hands, we kind of feel the urge to make it a little bit more human. The closer we bring objects to our bodies, the more human we want them to look like, as it was an extension of our body. Think about how you dress. You really want to express your personality. Your mobile phones, you put covers on them. I mean, as you get closer, you want to like be part of yourself, and because it's telling in some way something about us. So yeah, well, maybe someone of you were here yesterday at the last keynote. I'm glad we talk about this neumorphism thing. But if you don't know what it is, it was a visual trend that emerged in 2019 called neumorphism. And for me, it was like a new, fresh version of skeuomorphism. And I have a lot of questions about these things. So were neumorphic design a nostalgic way to bring back some humanity in our black rectangles? I think indeed was an interesting exercise. What we can assume here, it's that now we're living in the modernist world where everything looks just right, like our tech objects are like smooth and sleek, and they have no imperfection, and everything looks just right. Maybe we started back then to want our technology to look more human. Maybe could be the reason. So what do you think? Was it just a visual exercise, or were we looking for something more in our technology? So up to today, we really haven't employed this new expressive capacity to make usability improvement. I mean, dragging a window is still just sliding around a beautifully frosted panel of glass, so whatever. But neumorphism didn't catch on. It just remained just a happy idea there. But yeah, like to wrap it up a little bit, we have seen that ideology shapes design, as it happened when Mies van der Rohe designed the Farnsworth house here. That was like the most modernist thing ever. I don't know if you can see, if anyone had the chance to see it in person. I would like to. And yeah, this was the result of that way of thinking. And also social values and social movement or all the thing is going on in society really shape the way that we design. This is another example from Olivetti. Is the Valentine that was born was created in 1969 in the middle of the liberation movement, the student movement, the 60s. You know what I'm talking about. And yeah, and technology also shaped design the way it creates like new aesthetics and new discoveries or new improvement, as we have seen in the last 20 years or 10 years. I mean, in 5 years, things can really change a lot. So this new improvement create the opportunity to foster new aesthetics. As it happened here in the 30s in the United States with the aerodynamic studies that created the streamline style, the streamline aesthetic, which is really like rounded. And yeah, it makes sense because it really was useful to make things go faster, but yeah, also was adopted then later from two other objects. But yeah, so we have many codes and symbols inherited from the past, and sometimes I really wonder that maybe there's nothing left to invent from scratch, or maybe we're always drawn to what came before us because it looks familiar. I don't know. And we use those codes to build things and new languages because it is comfortable, right? And the thing here is that being aware of the past makes us more aware of our biases and our ideologies, and that all these ideas we have like in our mind, in our unconscious mind, that we shape them into our designs, right? And every color choice, every curve, every typographic choice, it's saying something. We are always delivering a message. We are not neutral. So design with this in mind, and always remember to be intentional, not to be dragged by things because look nice or something like that. So why there are some designs that stand the test of time? What I think, personally, I think that there's no timeless design as the one that truly expresses its values and beliefs. And some designs become timeless because they are true to themselves. Products that don't follow yet another design trend, not because they stay so-called neutral, but because they really embody the things they believe and sustain their businesses. And I mean, they're genuine. They're not pretending there's something else. And yeah, that's really important because design constantly talks to us and give us messages and create realities. That's very important, and create our reality. And aesthetics really can help achieve pleasure and harmony. You can use them to evoke and connect the sensory, the narrative with the sensory, I mean with your senses, with our feelings, and the ideas with the forms. And I think is one of the most beautiful aspiration of design. I mean, we can really bring emotion into things. And yeah, I want to finish with this quote from Otto Leicher. Sorry for the bad German pronunciation. It's a designer that I really admire. He wrote it in 1991 in his book, The World as Design, which I really recommend you read it. And yeah, he says that design relates to the cultural condition of an epoch, of the period of the world. And the modern world is defined by its design condition. Modern civilization is one of that is made by man, and therefore designed. So this phrase here is really important. The quality of the designs is the quality of the world. So everyone here, we are designing the tools of tomorrow. I mean, designers, developers, researchers, everyone, we're working in tech. We are really designing the tools of tomorrow. We are shaping our future, the one we are going to live in and the one of our sons and daughters, whatever. And I want to leave you with a question for you, because you start asking me, what do you want our future to look like? I mean, where are we heading with our interfaces nowadays? Think about it.